So today I'm actually going to corolla. So from case, we need to go get a key program to it. It'll be cut. So you see the program Immobilizer vehicle. The blade really for the key wrap we're doing. And I'm using an IPS, but we're using the road because we have to lock the back. So we're just going to set it aside and put it in. So yeah, I'm going to put the install and I'll bring back and talk about it. Alright, in this plug we're going to need the Y with black, Y with red to break the TPMS connection. We can't high, can't low for obvious reasons. We need the orange with black, which is for the SIL in case for some reason this one actually does program, which I haven't had a Corolla do it yet. Pink for ignition, green with red for RDA, and the gray with red, which is a ground input if you're for your hood pin. In the 910 harness, we are going to need parking lights wire and the black wire for ground while active to trigger our relay for the key wrap. And then I would typically use this gray wire for the key wrap, this big long one here. So set this wire off to the side. We're going to connect it to our relay here in a bit. I just connected my wire for the key wrap. It needs to be one continuous wire with no breaks in it whatsoever, because it does create a loop. Also take my ground up with the SLI connection so that it gets a good ground at the ODB2 connector. You don't have to do that, it's just easier and you know it's a good ground. And on this car, the TPMS ignition brake is in the driver's kick panel, so we will tape the white with red, white with black up together and run those down to the kick panel and attach butt connectors to them. And the last bundle that we tape up is going to be can high, can low, and RDA. They go to the BCM. They're in two separate plugs, but they're right next to each other. Alright, so I'll go over all the wires. So here we have ignition, which we're going to connect at the, there's a large gauge power connector that goes into the BCM. It's like 100 amps, so we connect there. This is for the key wrap, so it goes to our relay down here. And these are our ignition wires, which will have starter ignition accessory and then the parking light wire. Here we have can high, can low, and RDA. Go to the BCM. Here we have ground and the SIL connection that goes to the ODB2 connector. And here we have the TPMS brake, which is going to go into the driver's kick. So anyway, I'm going to go to the car and I'll bring you back and we'll go over everything, how to take it apart and stuff. Alright guys, now we're in the 2020 Corolla. I'm going to start taking everything apart and go over where I mount the brain and all that stuff, where I make all my connections. Oh yeah, and whenever you take panels off, the little clips that they come out, always put them right back, otherwise they'll get lost in the car and the panels don't go back correctly. On this car, there's a little spot to the left-hand side between the, I guess the outer side of the car and the BCM. You can slide the brain right in there, it fits pretty good. And then you can zip tie the harness to this main harness right here. Alright, so now that we kind of have everything ran where we want it, we can start making our connections. And I'll probably start out down in the kick panel doing TPMS. So let me get that started. Just down here in this plug, it's going to be the light blue wire. If your clip's facing away from you and up, it is light blue. It doesn't matter which way you connect the wires, whether you do white with black on clip side or away car side. All it does is break the connection so that the factory key fob will work while the car is on. And it only does that while the remote start is active. So you will see the TPMS light on until you put the key in the ignition. Now we'll do ground and the SIL connection. Alright, so at the ODB2 connection, pin 4, which is going to be white with black, that's your ground, and pin 7, which is your SIL connection, will be light green on this car, which is technically for your immobilizer, but we're using firmware TL8, so that's why we have to do the key wrap, because they haven't quite figured out the encryption on the new H keys. So specifically on the 19 RAV4 turnkeys and the Corolla turnkeys from, I think, 2020 and up. But sometimes it gets it, so we connect it just in case. Even if it does program, I go ahead and leave the key that's not cut, but it is programmed to the car. I leave that in the car in case later on you have to program it again. It may not program, so you leave the key in there in case you have to finish up doing the key wrap. I've had a RAV4 do that to me. Alright, next we're going to connect the RDA and can high and can low. So I'm going to unplug all the wires here so I can pull them down and actually get to them. And there's a bit of tape that we need to take off as well. So RDA is going to be in the bottom plug. It's like, I think it's pin 10, and that is where you connect the green with red from your blade. Alright, the next plug up is going to be where your can high and can low go. Can high is going to be black in the far bottom corner, and then right next to it is going to be a white wire, and that's your can low. I'm not sure what pin numbers they are, but it's the same as like a Camry or even a turnkey RAV4. They're based off the same platform. So check your wiring diagram with iDataLink and CompuStar, or even directed. I'm sure they're going to catch can high and can low in the same spot. Can't really catch it at the ODB2 connector anymore because they put a gateway in there and they don't allow all the information to flow. Alright, so there's all of those connections, so now we need to get them plugged back into the BCM, which is sometimes difficult. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and connect the 12 is constant. I do have the fuse removed, and this is a high current connection here, so be very careful not to ground it out on any of the metal around here, especially like right here, this little guy. I haven't done that and I don't really want to, but it'd probably blow a large fuse under the hood. Alright, so you get that taped up really good, and then the factory shrouding, put that back over, and then you tape it up some more, and then after you get done taping it all up, you throw a zip tie around it, just so that it's all nice and protected, and even better than it was from the factory. You never want any type of failure to be blamed on you. So just go a little extra on that and you'll be good. And plug that back in. Remember, take the fuse out. now that we're running ignition wires up here, I like to try and put them into the plastic grommet here that's already here. They kind of fit. There we go. Alright, so this is your ignition harness. So we'll need to make all these connections right here. And then your parking light wire, we're going to connect up to here. We're not going to worry about the auto light brake. Alright, so pin 1, which is a black wire, is ignition. So nothing special here. We just do the take a section of the insulation out and then poke a hole, put our wire through that hole and wrap it around, tape it up, and at the end we'll zip tie it just to be sure that nothing comes undone. Also, these are really small gauge wires, so you need to be careful not to accidentally break any of them. If you do, I'd suggest maybe soldering them back together. They are low current though, so. So the start wire is going to be purple. And accessories red. Alright, so there's all my connections up here at the ignition harness. I don't use the 12 volts constant out of here because it's low current, low amperage. You might be able to get away with it if you have like a 7200 brain and you're doing all the negative triggers and nothing high current. You might be able to get away with it using that, but I haven't tried it, so it's up to you. And now we got parking light wires, and the constant dinging noise is going to go. So this one, parking lights, is the green wires, pin 3. Now we're going to take or zip tie our ignition harness back up here where it was to begin with, so it's not hanging down, rubbing on stuff. And throw another zip tie over here. Just keep everything tight. So now I'm going to put the fuse in and see if it will program before I do the key wrap. Alright, so I got the 3 red flashes and then it turned solid blue. So that means it learned everything on the CAN bus that it could, but it did not learn the Immobilizer key. So we need to do the key wrap now. So the easiest way I found to do that is we take our wire that we connected earlier, and then you see this key. I have 2 little notches, one on this side and one on this side. To start, we'll wrap our wire around this, and those notches kind of hold the wire. And it's not easy, so good luck. You can also buy like a 556 UW or something like that, but I just don't have any today. So, and I generally wrap it at least anywhere from 6 to 7 times, and then I'll throw some zip ties and tape around it so that it doesn't want to come undone. Alright, so basically key wrap it like that. It looks like a disaster, but hey, it works. And then we're going to zip tie this up to our ignition harness that we ran up here, so it doesn't just kind of dangle and hang around up in there. Alright, now that we got that mess all up in there, we have our wire right here. We need to wrap it around this key cylinder right here. So, the easiest way I have found is just to kind of wrap it around the back side of it. And then this front side over here where my index finger is, you kind of hold it so that it doesn't slide off. So you wrap this in as many times as you can until you run out of wire. And then we'll put some zip ties around it so that the loop doesn't come undone. Alright, so I can't make another loop, so now is whenever I run the zip tie through the side here. There's that, and then what I'll do is zip tie whatever extra you have down here, and whenever you put the shroud on it, you won't see any of this. And it shouldn't come undone. And you also need to check to make sure you have enough play to move the steering wheel up and down and everything. So now we need to learn tack, which is really easy. You just basically put your foot on the brake pedal, start the car, and you wait 30 seconds and you'll hear the lights click, or the lights will flash once and you'll hear the relays click. Once that happens, you can let off the brake, turn the vehicle off, shut the doors, and test it. So whenever that happens, I'll bring it back. Alright, so now we're testing. I just pressed lock, I shut the hood. The security light is lit solid, so that means that there is a factory alarm in here. And in order for us to test properly, we need to wait until that starts to flash. And after that happens, I'll press lock 3 times, and the doors will unlock, the vehicle will start, and after it's started, the doors will relock themselves, and then we can get in and test our takeover. Okay, it's flashing now, so 1, 2, 3. Now you don't hold it or anything, you just do it 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. The doors unlocked, ignition came on, vehicle started, it'll relock, it locked, and now we can test takeover. So hit unlock on your factory key fob, the doors unlock, put the key in the ignition, turn it to the run position, put your foot on the brake. You'll hear the relays and the remote start click. That means that they're turning off and the key is taking over, and you're good to go. You can drive away now. So like, comment, subscribe. If you guys have any specific questions, feel free to ask. I'll see if I can help you out. I'm pretty quick on responding, but I don't have that many comments either. So thanks guys, I'll see you next time.